Today, I will be showing you and possibly introducing you to the Lottie and Albert Curate Crochet box. Now, this is a new box to me. This is, at least in terms of my knowledge of it even existing. It comes out of the UK. It's a little more expensive. We'll see if it's worth, worth the squeeze. And coming from the UK, coming from Europe, shipping is just horrendous. So not only is this particular box a little bit more on the expensive side, i.e., I think I spent like $35 for the box plus the shipping, which is pretty high. So it comes close to doubling the cost of the box. Not quite, but I think I end up spending, with the shipping, I probably spend between $50 and $60 for this particular box. So yes, it does end up on the pricier side for those of you who might be interested. So if you're interested in checking it out and seeing if you think it's going to be worth the extra cost to your budget, then stick around and check that out. If you think the cost is a little high for your taste or your budget, but you want to live vicariously through me, stick around. And you can do that too for free. Hello, my name is Sig, and this is Essential Crochet. And you are always welcomed here. Subscribe for more videos like this. And because I'm not really big on huge introductions, So this box is pretty beat up. That's just from the shipping, international shipping and all. It did come in a plastic bag, however, so the plastic bag it comes in is clear. So if you're concerned in terms of people being able to see what it is you purchased, that's something to consider. Otherwise, this is basically the box it comes in. So then you get this card, because see, I haven't opened this yet. This, full disclosure, this is not this month's box. This month's box is still on the way. This is a box from a couple of months back. I did buy a couple of past boxes too, what they had left over in their inventory. So we are going to have plenty of these kits in order to really evaluate what my thoughts are and just really what I think of the whole thing over the next few months. And then, of course, the card says, turn me over for more details on this month's box. So the card basically tells us the project, Parisienne bag. She's chic. She's perfect for picking up your groceries or carrying a whip. Need I say more? I'd love to see any pictures you share of your box. And then they give you the information as to where we can go in order to share that. A hashtag we could certainly use. The yarn. They tell us about the yarn. They say cotton is a very wearable fiber to use for a bag. The It's Pure Cotton DK we'll be using this month comes in a generous 100-gram balls. Is as soft as it is strong and allows us to create a dreamy Paris palette. Fantastique. Your skills. Puff stitch is the order of the month, combined with the trusty workhorse, the treble crochet. And since this is coming from the UK, for those of us here in the US, we're going to what they call a treble crochet, we call a double crochet. And a snazzy newcomer, the flat zipper join. Your skills just leveled up. So that's another thing you're going to have to keep in mind with concerns to these boxes from the UK. We use a different terminology for many of our stitches. So you just need to be aware of that. Ooh, okay. So it's kind of this basic granny square bag, right? So according to this, let's see. In my kit, I should receive a 4.5 millimeter hook. I should receive James C. Brett. It's pure cotton, DK 215 meters per 100 grams. Yarn A is black and yarn B is sand. So I should get 1 black and 2 sand. I should get a 13 centimeter pair of Trimmets band or bag handles in light brown, a yarn needle, bronze bag hardware, some D-rings, magnetic snap fasteners, front and back with some washers. Okay, then it goes through special stitches, abbreviations I need to know, some special pattern notes. This is kind of an accordion, kind of an instruction pamphlet. All right, so let's see what we have. So I did get the handles, and they appear to be a plastic. Let's see. So they have kind of a wood-grained look, but they're really very much plastic. And then, of course, the yarn. This yarn was made in Turkey. And it tells us that you can wash it on cool. It's cotton, so you can take a cool iron to it and you can dry it on a gentle or cool cycle. You can dry clean it. And then we get our directions in terms of our gauge swatch and then the size of knitting needles you might use for this. Okay, this is the hook. They give you a hook with this. Now I think they give you a hook with every box you receive. I think this is one of those. So like your Annie's boxes seem to be hit and miss. Sometimes you get a hook, sometimes you don't. I think this one you get a hook that is suitable for the project each time. I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye on that. So let's take another look. This hook is a 4.5 millimeter. And let's see, I'm looking at the instructions here. I'm not seeing anything off the bat that's telling me exactly which size hook I need to use, but I'm guessing this would be the size hook that I want to use for this particular piece. And if this is a 4 millimeter needle, then a 4.5 crochet hook is going to be in the right ballpark. Anyways. Let's see. And maybe it's underneath. Uh-oh. So far, I'm not seeing... oh, there it is. Never mind. Here is the hardware. It is hiding. And everything's so crinkly. I am so sorry. Okay, so here are our D-rings. The yarn needle. The washers, the magnetic clasps. And the other O-ring. All right, perfect. So everything is here. So the only thing we have left to do is to work this project up and see what we get. I'll see you right back here in just a moment. So Lottie and Albert, we have completed the Parisienne bag, and I will show you what it looks like, and I will also show you some of the changes I made, and I'll explain why I made a couple of the changes that I did. The bag itself was fine. This is nothing, again, this is nothing to do with the pattern itself. The pattern was good, solid, straightforward pattern. The piece ended up being a piece that I think I'm going to enjoy or use. I don't have any real complaints about the look of it. Like I said, everything was smooth. This is something that could be easily done in a weekend. You know, just taking your time a day. If you just set a few hours aside to do it, it's really not difficult at all. So let's go ahead and show you what it was that I did. So now this is your bag. So it's very similar to the picture, right? There are no surprises there. Everything went smoothly. Everything worked up just as they suggested. The instructions were clear, easy to follow. And this company also offers video tutorials if you need that for the piece you are working on. So that's really nice too. So the very first thing I did, however, was I made a different strap. So the length is the same, but the strap that they want you to use is a puff stitch. And frankly, I don't find puff stitches great in terms of straps, and I don't find them particularly functional, especially if you're going to be using a strap that's adjustable. And they gave me the hardware to make this strap adjustable. So anyways, what I did was I did a simple Tunisian stitch, and I just made a long strap from my simple Tunisian strip. I basically had 4 simple Tunisian stitches going across. When I got my strap to the length that I wanted it, I simply did a single crochet around the edges of the strap and called it good. Now, the next thing I did was I lined this purse. So, you know, cotton is just, you know, this cotton is pretty stretchy, actually. There's a lot of play in this cotton. And while I have cotton, and I purchased cotton because I really want to like cotton. There's some cotton that I've tried that I like well enough. There's other cotton, more times than often, I don't like working with cotton, particularly the heavier weight cottons, like what this cotton is right here. That it really bothers me. Now this cotton, it started off and it seemed to me that it was going to be pretty stiff, and so I was thinking more like dishcloth cotton, which I hate working with that because, and I create projects with it, but it's just not my favorite. I don't like the way it feels texturally speaking on my hands, and I don't really like working with it, even though I do from time to time. But this cotton was kind of nice because the more you worked with it, the softer it got. So it never got hugely soft, but it did get much easier to work with. And once you worked with it for a little bit, it just softened up and became way more pliable. So I don't know what that's about, but I'll take it. Because I was afraid that the cotton was just going to be get pulled out of shape too easily. These are granny squares, so there's lots of holes that you're dealing with. And so with regards to that, I will line my purses or bags that are made like that because, I just really think it's a much nicer finishing touch. It really levels the piece up. And then also, it adds a lot more life to the piece. And in my opinion, it just makes it more functional and cleaner looking, for lack of a better description. So what I did was I had this wonderful black and gold fabric, some Halloween fabric, and it was a perfect color tone to match my beige and black, because this beige and black really has kind of a classic look to begin with. So I thought this would be the perfect fabric to line this piece with, and it is. And so by lining my strap now has some strength, and it's not going to stretch and pull. And if I have some real weight in this bag, then this strap is now going to be able to handle it quite nicely. And then you can see how on the inside of the bag, that fabric. So I think it's just nicer. So there again, it has nothing to do with the pattern itself. I think they did a great job. I think it's a very classic looking bag. The colorway is nice. I'm happy with that. This is a perfect project bag. It's a perfect whip bag. If you wanted to, because the strap is long enough to make into like a crossbody strap, This is a nice little bag if you're just running around town and you just have a few errands to run. Oh, look, I still have a pin in there. And you don't want to carry a big purse. You just want something you can just shove your wallet into and go. This is a nice purse. I mean, so it's perfectly functional, and I really like that about this piece. So there again, you have these round handles that you can use to as like a handbag, and you can tuck your strap into your bag. So this bag is functional. It has a lot of practical uses to it. And there again, I like the classic colorway of the whole piece. So this was nice. So I think, as mentioned before, the real point of this piece was to work on puff stitches, right? So I can see why they chose to do puff stitches in the strap. And all in all, this piece worked out very well. I'm happy with it. Oh, and I'll show you how much yarn I had left. So this is how much yarn I had left. So I had, still plenty of black left from the one skein of black that I had. And then I had a little left from the beige and a full skein from the other cotton beige. Now, I think, had I done my granny squares, see, here I go changing the pattern again. Had I done the granny square the way they indicated, I would have been into the new skein a little bit. So they gave an adequate amount of yarn. I don't think they gave too much, but they did give enough. So definitely that if you made a mistake or you followed their instructions to the T, you were definitely going to have plenty of yarn to make sure that your bag was completed. So what I did, and this is just how I make my granny squares, right? So when making the granny square, they were suggesting that you put a 3-chain between the clusters or in the corner. I like to make my granny squares with either 2 or 1 chain stitch between the clusters, depending on their location, depending on the yarn that I'm working with, depending on, a couple other variables, if you like. So with this piece, I did 2 chains in the corners and only 1 chain separating my clusters along the edges. So this is not what they instructed me to do, but this is just how I make my squares because I like a tighter square. Now, had I followed their instructions and made my chains all 3 counts, so 3 counts between all my clusters, then I probably would have actually broken into this second skein of beige. All right, so all in all, I was very happy with this curated box from Lottie and Albert. I was pleased with this piece. It moved along nicely. I think it was well thought out. I liked the findings that were included. Again, I'm not unhappy with this box, and really, all in all, the only thing that made this box expensive, I'm thinking, is the shipping. For a kit, this is like $35 or 35 pounds, so it works out $35, $40. It depends on the rate exchange of the money. So for a kit, that's not a bad deal. It's just that shipping that really adds that bit of extra expense. But anyways, I just like to thank you for joining me today, and I want to wish you a very wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you again in this next video. Bye-bye now.